Hi everyone, welcome. My name is Billy. Today I would like to share with you two Mary Quant-inspired mini dresses that are made from a free downloadable pattern from the Victoria and Albert Museum in London. And this pattern was produced as part of the Mary Quant exhibition that ran from April 19 until February 2020, so just before COVID really began to spread. And I will also link the free pattern in the description box below. And these two dresses are also my entry for the Frugal Frocks 2021 challenge. And if you are not familiar with this challenge, is a challenge run by two UK-based vloggers, the Yorkshire Girl and Frugalissima. And the idea of this Frugal Frocks 2021 challenge is that obviously during this very unusual COVID time, we should strive to be frugal. So the rules for the challenge is to make a dress using a free pattern with fabrics that are already in your stash, and then reveal the result on March 31, which is today, on social media. I first heard about the Frugal Frocks 2021 from the plans video of Cath from the channel made by Cathcraft. And it is also in her plans video that I learned about this Mary Quant mini dress pattern. And I just immediately fell in love with this dress, and so that was why I decided to enter the challenge. So the first mini dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from just about a little over a yard of a 60-inch cotton fabric that I purchased from movefabrics.com. And so here's a close-up of the look of the print itself. And in this case, I made the dress with a contrasting round collar, and also the pockets here, and also contrasting sort of a little flap here. And then the belt in the back, I made it with the same fabric. To gauge the fit of this dress is actually a fairly simple exercise. Basically, what I did was just took out my measuring tape and just measure the pattern piece and compare the measurements against a shift dress that I already own to help me gauge what the fit would be. And so for this dress pattern, I decided to cut out a size 8 on the pattern. However, I did not cut out a straight size 8 because generally there would need to be additional modifications to a pattern, and so I thought I would just incorporate it. So the first version, which is this one, would already be fairly close to a version that fits me very well. So for example, for the shoulder, I know generally I needed to widen the shoulder of commercial patterns by about ½ inch, but I just measured my shoulder width against the pattern piece anyway. So for example, here's a measuring tape. So generally, to get to my shoulder is about 7.5-ish or 7.25, 7.75 inches. And then so I measured it against from the center front of the pattern to the shoulder piece minus the seam allowance, which is 1 centimeter for this pattern. And it was clear, if the shoulder were to go to the full, the shoulder length were to go to the full shoulder, I needed to add about 1.5 to maybe 1.75 inches, so that is a lot. But since the first version would be a sleeveless dress, and for a sleeveless dress, normally the shoulder doesn't go all the way out. It will come in back by about ½ inch or 1 inch. So I decided to only widen the shoulder by about half an inch for this first version. And so that's what it looks like. As you can see, it still comes in quite a lot from the actual shoulder here. But that's okay for a sleeveless dress. And also for a sleeveless dress, normally you want to raise the armhole a little bit, so then, it's just like the armhole is not so low. So for this version, I also raised the armhole by about 1 centimeter. And so that's, so what it looks like. It's still a bit lower than I would like, but overall, it's fine. And so you can see here, it still comes in quite a lot. The only thing is, my bra strap does show ever so slightly. So I did widen the shoulder in my next version. In addition to lengthening the shoulder by about half an inch and also raising the armhole by about 1 centimeter, I also needed to increase the size of the bust dart a bit because the original one on the pattern is actually quite small. But then after I made it up, there was just, so then it was a proper bust dart size, because then the fabric, there are no drag lines everywhere. Everything sits fairly flat. There was just a lot of excess fabric right under the bust dart, this line. And I wasn't sure how to fix it. By increasing the dart size or reducing the dart size didn't seem to make any difference. I still have that issue. So I was getting a little frustrated, and because I really like this dress, but this excess fabric, especially right around the apex, it's just not flattering and really was putting a damper on my enthusiasm for this dress and also for this pattern. Then I remember that the second pattern I ever used was a new look shift dress, and that new look shift dress fit me so well. So in a way, I was very lucky because I was still such a new sewist at that time. So I decided to pull out that new look pattern to compare it with this mini Quant-Inspired dress pattern to see what the difference was. And the new look dress, the dart legs start out much lower on the body, so the bust dart is much more slanted than the Mary Quant one, which is sort of flatter this way instead of like as slanted this way. And I didn't think the position of the dart legs would make much of a difference, but since I was somewhat desperate, I was willing to try anything anyway. So that was what I did. So I just copied the position of the dart legs of the new look dress pattern onto this one. So effectively lowering the dart legs by about 1 inch. So the size of the dart didn't change. It's just like where the dart legs start got lower by 1 inch. And my goodness, it took care of that problem. It made such a huge difference. So now it sits very flat, So overall, I'm very happy about this one. And I was just really amazed that the position, the location of the dart legs would have such a huge impact. And so I wanted to share with you in case you are also running into this issue. As you can see from the museum's website, the original dress has a very deep cutout here, and that cutout size was just a little larger than I would like. So originally when I first made this version, I was just going to omit the cutout entirely, so prefer just have a simple sort of Peter Pan collar. Then I realized that the cutout actually served a practical purpose, because without the cutout, the neck opening is simply too small for the head to get in and out, because this dress has no front opening or back opening. There are just no zippers anywhere. So in a way, it makes it a very simple project to make, but also without the zipper or some sort of button closures, the keyhole cutout became a necessity. But I did not want it to be so deep. So basically what I did was just drew a series of sort of a keyhole cutout, the sewing line, and then just sew the first one. If it's big enough, that's fine. If it's not, then I'll go on to the second one. And how to determine the size of the cutout is basically I just measure the circumference of my head, okay, like this. And then I added about 1 inch sort of ease to help, help me get in and out. And I think that was about the final size. And so the final size you see for this dress here is exactly half the length of the original design. So as you can see, the original design really will come down a lot. And for a small-chested person like myself, I did not think that would be flattering on me. So I'm very happy about this one. So, you can totally customize the size of this keyhole to suit yourself. But because this one is quite fitted, and normally I do put on my makeup before I put on my garment, but then in this case, because if I go through it with my makeup on, I could risk getting makeup on this very white collar. So my sister Lori had this brilliant idea. So basically she said just put a little sack over my head, put the makeup on first, and put a little sack over my head, and then when I put on or take off the dress, by putting it, just over your head, that will protect the clothes from the makeup that's on my face. And it did work very well. So I also wanted to share this trick with you. So here is a video of this mini dress in pink and gray geometric design, and I paired the dress with a pair of gray tights and red heels to play up the coloring of the dress, but also to add more 60s vibe to the entire ensemble. I'm really happy about the combination, and I really like it. It's so cheery and really is very 60s. And also, I really do like the length of the dress. It's not too short. And I did make adjustments to the length. This pattern allows for a 4-centimeter hem. And so that's exactly where it falls on me. And I am 5'5" or 165 centimeters in height for your reference. The second version of the Mary Quant-Inspired mini dress that I will share with you today is this one here, made from just a little over a yard of about 62-inch wide, very heavyweight denim. And so here is a sort of close-up look of this denim. As you can see, it's really thick. And also, I really love this very dark indigo color, which is my preferred color for denim. So this dress has been in my stash for well over 2 years. This is one of the very early pieces of fabric that I purchased. And it has been sitting in my stash for quite a while because I originally made a gathered short jean skirt with this fabric, and a gathered skirt paired with this very stiff denim. It's just not a happy combination because the gathered portion of that skirt just got all bunched up. So there were just a lot of volume in the midsection, and so that was a total failure. That's why I never posted that skirt on my channel. But because that construction is fairly easy, so I could easily unpick the whole thing and to turn it into a more fitted bodice. Well, I mean, a fitted skirt, so I would remove all of that volume from the gathering. And originally it was so stiff, it was so difficult to work with because this denim is untreated. And so the idea of these untreated denim is supposedly it would just mold and wear according to your body, and so it will give it additional characteristics. So I thought that was kind of cool to purchase it. But it was so stiff, so I googled how to soften denim, and it turned out you could just simply wash the denim with a can of Coca-Cola. And so that was what I did. I threw a can of Coca-Cola, obviously not the can itself, but the content, in with the washing machine, and I washed it, and which I normally do not pre-wash my fabric this way, but this one was so stiff I really needed to do something a bit drastic. So I threw it into the washing machine with the content of a can of Coca-Cola, and afterwards I just dried it in the dryer. And when it came out, it really became substantially softer than before. But as you can see, it is still quite stiff. So so either I should have done, like a 2 treatments, or, we would just soften up as I wear. So that's why this denim fabric was kind of sitting in my stash all this time. For this denim version, I paired the mini dress with a pointed collar, and also the square pockets. Here, let me see. So here, you can see here square pockets instead of the rounded one from the earlier version. And also for this one, I decided not to do a contrasting sort of a color, so everything is exactly the same denim fabric. And to give it more of a blue jeans kind of look, I decided to top stitch around the collar here. And also this top stitching goes all the way around the collar, and also the pockets portion, and also the back belt. And originally I used I suppose a real top stitching thread for jeans, but it was just too thick for my machine to handle. I could tell my machine was struggling, and so not wanting to risk damage to my machine, after the belt, which is what I did first, I just top stitched everywhere else with a standard kind of gold cotton thread. And while it's not as prominent as the top stitching thread for jeans, I still think it produces a very nice result. So overall, I'm quite happy with it. For this version, I widened the shoulder by an additional 3/4 of an inch. So by now I have increased the shoulder width by 1¼ inch by now, and but it is still about 1/2 inch before my actual shoulder. And I wanted to see how this would work, and it actually works quite well. And for this version, because the denim is so stiff, I enlarged the keyhole detail ever so slightly, just to make it a little easier for my head to get in and out of this dress. And also for this version, I raised the armhole by another 1 centimeter. And so this is now has been raised by a total of 2 centimeters. And I think this is how it should be, because I really do not enjoy having a very low sort of armhole in a sleeveless dress. But otherwise, there are really no groundbreaking additional development for this version. And I'm very happy about how this one turns out, and that I was able to really make use of a fabric that really just been sitting there. So overall, it truly is being very frugal for 2021. And one thing is kind of interesting about this dress is that even though I used exactly the same pattern as the first one, just by using denim, and also using the same color sort of details for the collar and the pockets, this dress did not have a particularly strong 60s vibes. To me, it looks very contemporary in the 21st century. So in a way, I wanted to make this version because this one might be a little more wearable than the earlier one. So here is a video of this denim mini dress, and I paired the dress with a pair of great ties to play up the 60s inspiration for this mini dress. Even though I think in generally I probably would wear this dress with bare legs. But overall, I am really happy about this dress, and I'm really having so much fun making this design, so I could highly recommend it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video. So please do stay safe, be well, and I hope I will see you soon. Bye bye.